All right, let's get back to some 2016 politics here. Could there be trouble, is the question, in Hillary Clinton's political future? That is one of the big questions this morning after pictures surface showing a bunch of empty seats, that's not good, in an auditorium at Georgetown where Hillary spoke at an event yesterday. At the same time, we're hearing that she has been meeting with potential campaign managers. No big shock there. Doug Schoen is a former advisor to President Bill Clinton, and Monica Crowley is an online opinion editor for the Washington Times. Both are Fox News contributors. So, gosh, you know, if you go into the room and some of the chairs are empty, I'm imagining that you're going to turn around to your folks and say, why did you let that happen to me, right?
Well, yeah, you say that. The other thing you say is there a problem with what I'm saying, what I'm offering, and my appeal? Because a prospective president, almost certain, as it appears now, Democratic nominee, should be evoking enthusiasm, not empty chairs.
At Georgetown University.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like she's not in a friendly town, in a friendly university.
Where her husband went to college.
Exactly. How does that, I mean, is that significant, Monica?
Well, it seems two things are going on here. One, that this was a failure of advance work, because you never send somebody of that caliber into an empty room to speak to a bunch of empty chairs. But secondly, to Doug's point, this gets to the crux of, I think, her real problem going into 2016, which is she doesn't have a compelling rationale for her candidacy. She doesn't have a compelling rationale to be president of the United States beyond the fact that she'd be the first woman, or, well, she got screwed last time, so it's her turn this time.
She's owed it. She's waited.
Yes, she needs something beyond that. And look, she's got a couple of really practical problems, which is she suffers a deficit charisma. She's not the most exciting person out there on the campaign trail. And two, there are a lot of people, Martha, who are suffering from Clinton, not just Clinton fatigue, but Clinton exhaustion, that they're already sick of these people before the campaign even gets started.
I mean, it may be that, you know, they look at it and say, well, I could go and watch, but I've heard her a million times. I know what she's going to say.
And she's boring. She's dull. President Nixon used to say to me in the last years of his life when I worked for him that the only worst thing in politics than being wrong is being dull.
Being dull.
Okay.
Let's take a look at the numbers here. The potential for the Democratic primary is the first one that we want to pull up. Now, I just want to ask you, if Elizabeth Warren went to Georgetown, do you think she would pack the room?
I think she would, but those numbers are really telling. I think Elizabeth Warren has a very strong and compelling argument inside the Democratic primary. But when you're trailing 65 to 10, it's very, very hard to get up the energy and the enthusiasm to challenge a front runner.
Obama had very low numbers at this point.
He did. But
in the teens, if I remember correctly.
But so far, Elizabeth Warren hasn't shown the political moxie that
But
Barack
she
Obama
has, apparently, that, you know, she's got the vibe. She's got the thing that makes people want to show up and hear her speak. But let's take a look at some of the GOP matchups here, potentially. And this one is Jeb Bush. That's pretty tight. It's a margin of error, 2.4% on that one. So they're fairly close at this stage of the game. And look at Ted Cruz. Wider margin against Ted Cruz. There was also a recent one that showed Mitt Romney edging her out.
Yeah.
Right?
Here's the thing. The exit polls on Election Day showed Hillary trailing a generic Republican. As we see here, there is not a consensus Republican, so Hillary...
Get that guy generic. Republicans,
yeah.
Monica, call him up.
Yeah,
generic does very well,
but
better than Ted Cruz.
Hillary's in a competitive race, that's for sure. The inevitability of her candidacy clearly does not work towards her advantage, as you correctly point out.
No new car smell, as the president said, right?
That's true. But she's got another problem that you touched on when you referenced Elizabeth Warren, which is that the Democratic Party now is so far to the left with its populism and its message of income inequality. Hillary has got to embrace that if she wants the base to come out for her. Her problem is that she and her husband's net worth, $100 million plus. It's a hypocrisy problem for her when she's going to try to make this argument when she's still making paid speeches now for
nobody. I mean, you can't run for president unless you have a lot of money. I mean, we know that, right, Doug?
And God bless her, but the problem is the hypocrisy.
People criticized about making the same argument about Mitt Romney.
You have to be able to raise a lot of money, and one thing's for certain: Hillary and Bill Clinton will be able to raise north of $1 billion for this campaign.
A gazillion.
Gazillion. Yeah.
Thank you so much, you guys. That's the mathematical term for the money that we raise.
Exactly.
Thanks, guys.